Hi, and welcome to Banfield. If you saw the movie Midnight Express, you know the terror of being locked up in a foreign prison like Billy Hayes was. He spent 5 years in a filthy Turkish lockup before escaping back to America. And in a moment, he is going to talk with me live with some words of wisdom he's got for WNBA star Brittney Griner tonight. She's locked up in a certain hell of her own in a Russian jail cell. Brittney Griner is no stranger to pressure plays. As an all-star basketball player, she has often had to heave a last-minute shot with the game on the line, but that is just the thing. Basketball's just a game. If she misses, it means just a loss. On the other hand, if the Hail Mary that she threw up today misses, she could lose her freedom. This morning, in a Russian courtroom, Griner pleaded guilty to bringing vape cartridges containing trace amounts of hashish oil into Russia in her luggage. The charge carries a 10-year prison sentence. Paradoxically, she pleaded guilty in hopes of avoiding that sentence because Russian officials say they won't even negotiate her possible release until the trial is completed. She's pinning her hopes on a possible prisoner swap between Russia and the United States. Brittney, for infamous Soviet-era arms dealer, a man named Viktor Bout. Here's what Bout's U.S. attorney told NewsNation exclusively about that prisoner swap today.
So do I think there's a way? Do I think it should be done, Victor, for Brittney? Absolutely. Because again, Brittney's now pled guilty to being a criminal, in effect, right? Whereas Viktor Bout was set up by the United States. Do I think because of the optics, it has to include the notorious spy Paul Whelan? Absolutely.
Not a lot of people know what Brittney's going through tonight, facing an uncertain future in a foreign prison because of one error in judgment that she allegedly made at the border. But one person who does know what it's like is Billy Hayes. In October of 1970, he was caught trying to smuggle 4 pounds of hashish out of Turkey. He was arrested and convicted, and he was sentenced to 4 years and 2 months behind bars, a sentence that eventually became a life sentence when the Turkish authorities changed course and decided that 4 pounds of drugs should instead be considered smuggling instead of possession. While U.S. officials tried desperately in diplomatic channels to get him sprung, he was beaten and he was brutalized by Turkish prison guards, and he was locked away in a psychiatric hospital. 5 years after his arrest, with no movement on the diplomatic side, Billy Hayes escaped. He used a rowboat, and he eventually made it back to the United States as a fugitive, but as a free man. If his story sounds familiar, it's because you may have read it or seen it in a theater. Hayes' book about his ordeal was turned into the film Midnight Express, which scared an entire generation into never, ever, ever, ever trying to smuggle drugs into or out of a foreign country. Here's a reminder.
William Hayes. William Hayes, Borasa Sarmalcilar, çok şeyler öğrenir.
And that is a movie that stuck with all of us for many, many years. So when I heard the news today of Brittney Griner, I immediately thought of Billy Hayes and what kind of advice he might have for Griner and for her family 5 months into her ordeal. And Billy Hayes is here with me live tonight. His new book about his experience is called Midnight Express Epilogue, Train Keeps Rolling. He also has a one-man show called Riding the Midnight Express. Billy joins me live tonight in a NewsNation exclusive. Thank you so much for doing this interview with me tonight, Billy. I'm assuming you can identify with some of the fear and terror that Brittney Griner is going through. And she's only 5 months into her ordeal. Yours was 5 years.
Unfortunately, I can relate. For her, the beginning of this process is something that she inadvertently got into. I mean, I know she had some hashish oil in her bag. I think the difference now might be the fact that she inadvertently brought it into the country. It's for her own personal use, and she had a prescription for this. Unfortunately, that doesn't really matter in a lot of foreign countries because laws are different, and you need to discover the differences quickly, or you end up in a very bad place.
So we just saw, within the last couple of months, Trevor Reed, a Marine veteran who was released, came back to the U.S. and said that Russian prison cells are hell. He described what almost sounded like the scenes that I saw in Midnight Express. He also described being sent to a psychiatric ward where he was absolutely terrified. I don't think Brittney is articulating those details. Clearly, she's still in custody. But I can only imagine that if Trevor Reed says that about a Russian prison, it can't be a picnic for her.
No, I actually got myself transferred to an asylum because I know under the Turkish law, there was an article that said if you're judged to be crazy, you can't be kept in jail. And I went there with the idea of escaping from this madhouse because my prison was becoming intolerable. I couldn't say anymore. I don't think Brittney should be sent to a psychiatric evaluation situation. It's just not good. I'm hoping that the publicity coming out of something like your interview tonight and all of the attention that she's gleaned is holding her in good stead. I don't think the Russians will brutalize her because the world is watching, and we should be emphasizing that we are watching. And hopefully, now that her sentence is going to be finished, all of the legal ramifications that take forever in any country, but especially in a foreign country, as I realized in Turkey, and I've heard about Russia, take a long time to conclude. Her confession today, admitting what she did, I think might allow the Russian government to move the legal process forward so that they can maybe transfer her for this other Russian gentleman who's in prison somewhere. I hope so. I think Russia would like to bring Brittney home, but she's become a pawn now. All of the stuff that's going on in the world with the invasion and such allows them to use her in ways that perhaps she wouldn't have been before. So for her sake,
I
Yes.
can't compare 1970s Turkey to 2022 Russia, but I can say that when you don't know who you're dealing with, it is a frightening prospect. And now with this plea today, it looks like she's putting 100% of her faith in an entity that is really unknown, especially since the Ukraine invasion. What is your advice for her and for her family, having been in a situation where the goalposts did shift?
I was originally sentenced to be in prison for 4 years, and then just prior to going free, in fact, I had a calendar, I was crossing out the days, 56, 55, 54 days prior to going free. My sentence was changed to eventually to a life sentence. The reasons for this are multiple. Mostly it was the fact that Richard Nixon was pressuring the Turkey and other countries to enforce the war on drugs, which was just becoming very prevalent back then. And they used me and several American women as examples of what it's like to be arrested in a foreign country. I certainly don't agree that cannabis, hashish, which is what I had, and what Brittney has, is a dangerous drug. In fact, it's being used now to heal people, but the law doesn't reflect that. And Brittney is under the law, so whether we like or dislike what's being done to her, she needs to deal with Russia right now. And I think that by confessing to this and pleading guilty, she might be moving the wheels forward legally that will allow for the transfer and at least reconsider her sentence, because she wasn't smuggling. I was smuggling. I had hashish taped to my body. I think she inadvertently had this vape cartridge in her luggage. So she wasn't intending to smuggle. This was for her own private use. She has a prescription for it. I think she needs to hold steady. I think her parents need to realize that she's going to be okay. The world is watching. And if she can, in prison, you have no control over anything except yourself. And as an athlete, I'm sure she understands the concept of controlling your life, controlling your body. I got lucky and had a yoga book literally in my backpack while I was being arrested, and yoga saved my life in prison, emotionally, physically, and I think she might be able to use yoga and her physical training to affect her mental attitude. Because when you're in jail, everything around you says you're a loser. And it keeps saying that every day for 24 hours. She knows she's not. She's an Olympic champion. She's an athlete. And I think the fact that the world is now looking at her and at the situation hopefully will allow things to get better. Inshallah, as we say in Turkey, and that she is brought home.
Inshallah. Yeah, God willing. I remember that. I've spent some quality time in Turkey, and they're lovely people. And I know that that was a really big struggle for you. You went back and apologized to them for how the movie portrayed the Turkish people. But I digress, because I do have a very important question. As a war correspondent, I remember being taught, if you're ever captured and put in jail, you need to measure your moments by small victories. They might just be, getting a peek out of a blindfold or getting a big, breath of fresh air. But these are all small victories. Do you remember that? And do you have that advice for Brittney Griner as she hopefully counts down the last of her days and hopefully can trust the Russians with the deal that she may be entering into? Small victories are the way to get through these ordeals?
That's what yoga and meditation bring you. Small little victories. You just live moment by moment. And if your moment is stretching your body and taking breathing exercises to make you realize that you need to calm, because that's all the things you can control is yourself in jail. And if you can keep a control on yourself, it puts perspective on things, and it looks awful from the inside. But to know there are people on the outside who care and are working for you, that will help a lot. And everything I've seen of Brittney, she seems to be very much in control. She's got her emotions under control. I think after 5 months in jail, she realizes the seriousness of what's happening. And hopefully this is leading towards a conclusion that will bring her home.
Billy Hayes, I can't thank you enough for talking with me on this topic. There's just no one who knows more and can give the right kind of advice than you. Thank you again, and I hope we can talk again when she comes home.
Anytime, and I hope that's soon.
Me too. Best to you. Thank you so much. Billy Hayes joining us tonight in a NewsNation exclusive. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.